Alright, so this project is to repair this tractor. I've been having a little trouble with it. I think it's fuel, but I'm going to go ahead and repair. Well, I get mad at I bought a carburetor, but I also bought electrical stuff. Just going to go ahead because they're kind of next to each other. And in fact, I took the carburetor off, and I'm waiting to put the electrical in first because I think it'll be easier that way. So, and I got this. We're going to do an unboxing, and then we'll look at. See, there's the distributor, the cap. It's already off, and carburetor goes here, so it's kind of close in. If it wasn't for this, if it wasn't for that loader, it'd be pretty easy to get to. But anyway, so let's see what I got here. This is going to be the electrical stuff. Surprisingly, too, I guess I paid more for this than I did for the carburetor. The carburetor didn't cost very much. But it's going to have a problem, but we'll see. Ford's 3-cylinder tractor, 65 on. Yeah, that looks pretty good. 4 wires. Now, this wire, I don't know if one of these wires needs to be kind of long. And none of them look long enough. But I could maybe move the coil. I bought a coil, I had to buy the coil separate. This is really the most expensive part, which is wrong. The rotor. Yeah, it's different looking rotor. But I guess it fits this. So, and the points, which we haven't. No, there's the rotor. What's this part? A base of some sort? Grease. So, you know, I installed spark plugs in a car, and I didn't pay attention to the new plugs compared to the old. I didn't compare the new plugs to the old plugs, and the new plugs was a 1/4 inch longer. I'm lucky I didn't ruin the car, but it burned off. The plugs burned, and they worked okay for a while, but then they burned off. But I'll make sure these are the same before I install them. So right now, let's look at the tractor a little bit. One cool thing about this tractor is this battery is on a shelf that rotates out like that, so you can get in there better. So see, this cord is longer, much longer than anything they gave me. Let's see, where is this longest cord? Let me look. It's going to be a little different too. I guess it's, what's this? I guess see, what they gave me is this. So I'll either have to reuse that cord or move that distributor or get a different cord, new cord. That one's too short. I don't know what this base is for, but anyway, I'm hoping the rest of it will be alright, I guess. So see, this is, and I got something to show you when we get to the carburetor. I'll have a special problem, but I'll just go ahead, I guess, and replace these parts. Just pretty straightforward. Now, the one thing I'm not sure about is setting the points, but luckily I've stopped it on a lobe. It's right on the top of a lobe, so that's one good thing. And I marked this this distributor cap with which, you know, plug is which already. So I have that figured out. And there's the 1, 2, 3 cylinder. Here's these spark plugs. You know, when I took the old ones out, I labeled them and I looked at them real good, because you can tell something about the health of the car when you do that. So this one, it's a little bit carbonized, but not too awful. So, and I had them all labeled. But I didn't look at the new plugs compared to the old ones. And see, they're too long. I'm lucky, really, that I didn't. It didn't impact the piston. But I don't think it did, because it would have smashed this. It would have hit this. But they burned off because they were sticking out too far. They got too hot and they all burned off. And then the car didn't run right. But it's incredible, it would run at all. It would start right up, but it wouldn't run over 50. Gosh, that's amazing. I did that. I made that mistake. Don't make that mistake. Compare your new plugs to your old plugs. I had confidence. And the thing of it was, too, I bought them. I didn't install them for about a year or two after I bought them. I kind of hate to install new plugs, because the old plugs always work anymore. The car's usually running fine. It's time to replace the spark plugs. And then something can go wrong, you know. And it did. It's amazing. It used to be, back in the old days, you had to replace spark plugs all the time. You're going to need a shorty screwdriver, because there's a manifold on top of this distributor. Where's that screw now? I can't see it. There it is. A shorty screwdriver with a shorty flat screwdriver. I'm going to have to use two hands, I guess. You want to have a little magnet or something so you don't drop stuff in here. I've got a magnet somewhere stuck to something, but I couldn't find it, but I got this, so that's good. You can feel as you unscrew, if you push down, when it's done, because it'll hit that thread, it'll drop. See how it dropped a little bit? Go around again. I might have lost it. At any rate, as soon as it drops like that, you know it's loose, then reach in with your feelers and get it. Rather than let it drop. See, that little thing could drop right in there. Oh, shit. Where'd it go? Did it drop in there? Oh, I've still got it on the end of my thing. I thought I dropped it. Whew. It scared me. The old points look like they might be slightly higher quality than the new points, but I don't know. We'll see what happens. It doesn't require a lot of brains to do this, but it takes dexterity and patience. I can't. You have to hook those two wires up like that, and then put this back with those little screws and everything. And when this really you used to have to do this all the time with cars, and it really was crazy on an 8-cylinder, because this has only got 3 lobes. This distributor only has 3 lobes, but on an 8-cylinder it would be like an octagon on here, you know, and there just would not be much space from one lobe to the other. So when you set your points, it had to be very precise. It'd be nice if I had that little pinpoint magnet. I gotta put that screw right there and not drop it. And I was thinking about using a tweezers or else that thing, I'm not sure. Well, I dropped that screw and I can't find it. And I went looking for my magnet and I can't find my magnet. But you know, you can make a magnet good enough by... So you get these magnets out of speakers. You got a speaker that don't work, take the magnet out of it, throw the rest of it away. And then you rub this, take just a screwdriver, rub it on like this, and then I think it'll give it enough magnetism to pick up this screw. You can't even see it. I dropped it, I can't even see what it is. There it is, I think. No, that's a pin. Just what I don't want to do is drop it in there, and I did. If I move this, it's going to have a tendency to fall. I can't see it. There it is, see. Now, let's see if that magnet will pick it up. I could pick it up now with anything. Let's see if this is going to work. No, yeah, there it is. Picked it up. Oh, fuck! I'm not doing too good, but I'll tell you, this is always happens. Now, it didn't drop in the distributor. It dropped on the ground. The thing you don't want is you don't want it dropping in the distributor. Here it is. Need little fairy fingers. Let's try these crazy needle nose pliers I bought one time. I think these might be able to just reach in there. If I get it right on there. This one wire is even in the way. I'm going to have to put the camera down. I got it. That one. I still got it. I ended up magnetizing my stubby screwdriver enough that it would stick to it. And then I just held it real. Oh shit, now see if it'll stick. Shit. Undo it. It worked before. There it goes a little bit. It's delicate. But hold it just enough until it gets in there. Hit something on the way down. Actually, I could use a longer screwdriver with this screw because it's got more room. Now that hole isn't lined up. I gotta put this camera down. This next one's even worse because I gotta attach this wire and this and the screw, and the screw's got a smaller head, so I went ahead and plugged these holes with earplugs. Probably should have done that to start with. So if I drop it, it can't go anywhere. So I've got it really close. I just gotta, I think I'll use my shorty and kind of feel it in there. I decided to go with something even shorter. You want to be able to, when you get it lined up, you want to really be able to feel the threads when you go to screw it in. So you set the threads by putting a feeler gauge in there and getting that space right. I just remembered, I think those old V8 engines had a way to set the points, not this, they had a separate screw and you could have it all put back together and turn the dwell meter on. There was a meter, and then you set the points according to what that dwell meter liked by a screw that was outside of the distributor. I think I've got this. The funny thing about these points too is when they come together, it charges that little condenser, I suppose, I don't know, the coil, I'm not sure how it works. But it's when they come apart, that's when the spark happens. Odd. I'm comparing these two spark plugs, but you know one thing I'm noticing? It looks like the one I'm taking out is a modern one. See how it's got that little small pin? And the one that I'm putting in is an old-fashioned one. So I might be doing this job again, or else I should just put the old ones back in, I'm not sure. So I was looking, this coil is a little different. It says battery distributor. I guess it's probably original. The new coil says plus minus. So you could probably figure the minus is black and plus is red. But then I was noticing the colors change on the wires. And then I noticed the splices, and I think I'm going to redo these splices. I don't like this kind of splice. I'm going to go ahead and make this soldered. And then I might go ahead and make a spade terminal. Although I'm not real thrilled. I don't like spade terminals very much either, but I'll see how it goes. But I think I'm going to, that's all for today, I think, because I've got a show to go to. So I think I've figured out what I want to do with this carburator. Well, I want to install this for the fuel line, and this is pointing out of the tractor. This is pointing towards the distributor, and they gave me something that fit here, but it's too big. So I found this from Napa gave me this. It screws in here. It screws in like a turn, 2 or 3 turns, and see it's got a few threads, and then there's an O-ring. And you know, a lot of guys would probably just force it, and I am really not sure, but I do have a tap that goes pretty good, and so I think I'm just going to tap a little more. I'll tap a few turns, and then I'll try the part, and then I'll tap, if it doesn't go, I'll do a few more turns. You know, it's possible that this, if I put some, but anyway, that's what I think of. I was going to say, a lot of guys would probably just clamp it down, maybe put some thread sealant on it. Now this one, another thing I might mention that I still don't 100% understand, this is smaller than this. So see, this one won't go on at all. That reminds me, I wonder if this one will fit in all the way. Well, see, it still stops a little, but I think it's just hitting some gunk, really. So this is threaded bigger, but they seem like they're the same count. It's the same thread count, but this one's a little bigger than this one for some reason. I'm not sure why. However, this will not, well, this won't fit in here at all. And in here it only goes, it doesn't even go a full turn. It goes about a quarter turn and stops. Again, I've got this tap, which the guy told me it's a quarter 27, but it says 1/8 27 NPT on it. You have to take my word for it probably. And I looked up that it might be a 1/8, which is, I'm not sure how they would come up with 1/8, because I think that's a quarter ID. It's more than an eighth, but anyway. Anyway, this fits. I'm not a machinist. So this screws in pretty far. And but it's a tapered thread, so it gets bigger as it goes out. So I'm going to go ahead and thread this one. I'll probably have to thread this one up to here. I'll probably have to go about this far with this one. Several turns. I had a machinist told me you're only supposed to do 7 turns, I think he said. But this won't fit if I don't bore it out a little bit. Another thing they might say, you need to use a bigger drill it out, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to try and, well, after all, look at how far in this goes. I mean, this does, the guy said it, you're only supposed to do this many times. I don't know. It's got a lot of threads left, that's for sure. So you hear different things from different people, and it's hard to know what's right. One thing I'll have to do after you use lubricant, you know, you go in, then you back out, go in, back out, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. And then after I've done it, I'm going to need to flush it with gasoline, get any chips out, any fragments, not even a chip, but just a little metallic dust would cause me problems. Because there's jets like this, you know, just little tiny orifice. But I sort of been working up the courage to do it, and I don't know that I necessarily have the courage at this minute. I just have enough courage to make this video, I think. I'm not real happy. This one just looks like I flat out ruined the threads, which I don't understand because it screwed in nicely. Wait a minute, let me blow on it. No, see, it looks like I ruined them. This one here doesn't look so bad, which is odd because this one was smaller. But I think I'm going to try and go with it anyway. I was able to get, I'm able to get this other one in. Not the one I bought, the one I found at home will go in a little bit. I don't know if it's any better than it was, but see, it screws in a few threads. This is a real low pressure, super low pressure, because it's just the gas tank. The gas tank isn't even very high. But this one odd too. This one, it just, I don't know if I hardly even improved it. Oddly, it'll screw in here better. It almost drops in there. See, this one will screw in. Which is odd because I'm using the same tap. But they are 2 different size holes. This hole here is a little smaller. But you think that tap would ream it out. It's almost the same as when I started. I don't know. But I think I'm going to go with it as it is. When I go to screw this in, it kind of reaches a hard stop when it makes me afraid to go too much farther. Look how far in it'll go too. I don't know, I'm doing something wrong. I'm not a machinist. The other guy said something about only going 3 threads. I don't understand it. I'm not sure what's going on. And then this one, see, this is the one, because that thread's in pretty good. That's the one I found at home. This is the one I bought that's supposed to match that tap. It doesn't thread in as far. This one threads in. I think this is a straight thread. This is not a tapered thread for one thing, and it might be a titch smaller, although I don't know why it would be smaller, how it could be, but I hardly made any difference really with that one. That's about the way it was before. But I screwed this tap in pretty good. I'd almost be inclined to say these threads they look a little bigger. These threads might be different. Ah, rats. Oh, it just went down the hole. Those threads on that plug might be different for some reason. This is the one that came with it. I know they're smaller. See, it's still... This one still threads in just about the same. So I know this one's smaller, but it looks like... Can't see, bro. I can't hardly do this with one hand. Let's see if I can do this. I guess I've got feelers made for this job somewhere. These are all 27s. I think this must be the 24. See, it doesn't fit. There's the 27. There's the 27 on that one. Actually, that one almost looks like it doesn't fit. I'll look a little closer. If I do it right, it fits. I'm not holding it right for the camera. If I do it... Actually, it looks a little funny. Let's do this one. This is the one that came out of that hole. It fits perfectly. This is the one I bought. I don't know why I can't make this one fit. It does look a little bigger. It looks a little... Let's try the 24 on it. That one might be a 24. You know, I think this plug's a 24. Huh, that's weird. It does look a little bigger threads. That's very weird. I need to get a different plug. I need to get a 27. Then that'll help me with that. Good thing I didn't jam it in there. That's funny that it seemed like it fit pretty good. It seems like it fits right here. It's just because it's loose, I guess. It's bigger. This is my tap. So this is the 24. That's a 24. Ah. Well, I gotta get a different plug. So this one, I was thinking these two went together. They don't though. So I gotta get a different plug. I'll maybe go to Ace. See if I can get a 27 plug. And then I need to put this thing together because I need to get the tractor going. And if it leaks a little bit, I could shut the fuel off, and I don't know. Hopefully it won't leak. I really can't have a fuel leak. So I've installed the carburetor, and I decided there's debris in the gas tank. So I'm going to clean out the gas tank, but before I do, I'm going to try and start it with this little temporary gas tank I've got. And you know, one thing I don't understand about these fuel filters is they don't fill up with fuel. See how it's partly, I don't know why, but they seem to work anyway. So, and then after I start it, what I'm going to do is move it forward, get some blocks on the other side, move forward, and then I'm going to flush out the gas tank. And I want the gas tank to be tilted this way because the hole's on this side, and it's pretty flat at the moment. And the other, I thought about jacking it up. I thought about using the starter to move it forward, but I got to lift this. Well, I could jack it up without lifting this, but to put it on blocks, I have to lift this, which I need the engine. Plus, I want to see if it works anyway. So, if you're seeing this, it probably worked. Well, this one, you wouldn't know. It'd be the next one. All right, let's try it. Let's start. See, the problem is it could be the distributor or the fuel. I don't know. I'll spray a little. I haven't seen him do it on anybody else's.
Just on your car?
Yeah. If it doesn't pop, then it's the distributor. It's not getting sparked. It must be. I must not have the points right or something. Yeah, it's not getting sparked. It's not getting spark at the right time. I kind of think the points might be too far apart. They have to touch in order to make a spark. I'm going to rotate the engine until they're at the lowest point and see if they're touching. It always stops on a high lobe, I guess, because of engine compression. Well, I hadn't put the dust cover on the distributor. I went in the house and looked at instructions, and because it looked and checked the points spread, and I had them right. I hadn't put the dust cover on, so I put that on, which was difficult because you got this manifold. I got this loader in the manifold. But anyway, they thought, oh, I'll give it a little kick real quick. I might not have the throttle hooked up. Yeah, I didn't have it hooked up, I think. Now it's probably on high speed or something. So it looks like actually the distributor set wasn't all that cheap. It was the most expensive part of everything, but it's got low quality parts, and that number 2 wire was sparking to ground instead of hitting. So I placed the number 2 wire with the old wire. Now I don't know if it'll rev or not, but I noticed the spark plugs were old-fashioned spark plugs, and the points didn't look as good either. Parts are flaking off this little gas tank I bought. This washer's deteriorated or something. What's this world coming to? Looks like a butterfly in there. There's I think that's a seam. It looks like a stick. Is there a stick got dropped in there, do you think? How could you drop that long of a stick in there? I've already taken the float out, so it's not that. There shouldn't be any wires in there anymore. I don't know what that is. Could be like a weed. It looks clean as far as it doesn't look to me like it's got turp. So I'm just about got this gas tank cleaned out. I took this off. I think I showed you already that I took that off. And I've been I used this to get some of the bigger stuff out. Some of the big bugs and stuff wouldn't flush out. And then I poured what was in the gas tank back in. I made this diverter nozzle here, right there, so it would collect in this bucket. And now I'm going to pour in some, and then I bought this cheap, this was only $10 at Walmart, this sprayer. And you know, this Chinese stuff has just not gone up in price. And it's a pretty good sprayer. So I didn't put the spray nozzle on. I just got it like this. And this is fresh gas. I've been spraying the gas that came out. Now I'm going to spray fresh gas in there, flush it out with fresh gas, and of course you pump it up like this. And I want to mention, I've kept this for the longest time, these can explode, and I was filling this one up with, looks like 2,4-D, and it exploded, which isn't cool. But I think when they get old, if they're new, I think they don't explode, but of course you don't want to have any flames or sparks in this area. Normally a gas tank has no air in it, so it's relatively safe inside the tank, but of course we got 2 big holes in it. There's going to be air, so it could explode if there was a sufficient spark, in theory. Well, not just in theory, everything's got to be right. The gas air mixture's got to be, basically there's got to be enough air in there. But as soon as this is poured through, I'm going to be done with this particular part of the project. So here's what I'm going to do instead of this, because this thread is too big by like 20 thousandths. Or maybe it's not an NPT, maybe it's a straight thread, I don't know. But it's too big, it won't thread in reliably. Plus I don't know what this thread is. It might be designed for a specialized fuel line, but anyway, here's what I'm going to do. This is 1/2 inch NPT, it screws right in. I gotta find the number 2 gasket material. Thread lock, number 2 thread lock, blue. I got it around here somewhere. I couldn't get it in a 1/4 inch. 1/2 inch here, NPT, 1/4 inch barbed, I couldn't get. So this is 3/8. So the more the merrier. I got 3/8 hose. My dad always said I went overboard on everything. This is shutoffs. 3/8 shutoffs. This is a 3/8 gas filter. Wix is supposed to be a really good brand. At the last minute, so to speak, I'm going to switch to 1/4 just before the carburetor, so I'll have like no. This will bump right up against the carburetor nozzle, and I'll just have a 1/4 inch hose connecting the two of them. And I haven't 100% decided. I could take this off. I actually got a refund from eBay, but then they don't seem to want the part back. I could take this off and stick it in here, probably. But I might not, because this keeps trash in the gas tank. I would just as soon if it flowed on through into the fuel filter. The one thing it could do is if I don't have it on there, then something could cover this over and completely seal it. But that's the one thing that this would be an advantage, because stuff could bump up against it up to this level of height, and still you'd get gas flow. So I found my thread locker, number 2. It's supposed to be a sealant also, so I'm told. It's important that this does not leak, because this is the bottom of the fuel tank. And I want to keep the fuel tank full. And you know, you can put up with a oil leak, and you can put up with a water leak for a while, but you just can't put up with a fuel leak. If this stuff doesn't work, or if this does leak, I guess I should say, I'm going to use some like gasket sealer. I'm getting it pretty tight. I never like to get stuff too tight, but I'm getting it pretty tight. So, I didn't put that screen in, so we'll see how this works. And the nice thing about this is, like to do that valve, I had to take this bar off, because it would hit as it went around, because this doesn't have any things sticking out, so it's easy to put in and out. And in addition, I got any chance there, put it like that. In addition, you know, when I go to take it apart, the only thing of it, if I take this off, gonna have a valve here. If I take this off, the tank will have to be empty, or else plan on. But other than that, I can take this on and off fairly easily, and we'll see how it goes. So this is one of the trickier things I'm doing, although the leak problem is somewhat less since it's at the top of the tank. This is the float mechanism. It determines if it, you know, full. Here's empty. Here's full. Oops. Full, empty. It's got a pretty good swing to it. But, and it may still work, but I don't want to put it back in. I don't need it. And also it's kind of corroded. But what I'd like to have is a gas cap that had a measuring device, which I may find. So I had a piece of steel. So this thickness is about 80 thousandths right here. And I had a piece of steel. Is about that. I don't have a piece of aluminum at the moment, but steel I decided is too hard to work with. So, and then even aluminum is be a little bit hard when you go to make a circle like this. So I'm sandwiching. I got this fiber gasket material and aluminum, basically flashing. If I sandwich them together like this, I get about 80 thousandths. Now, what I thought I'd do is glue them together with this gasket maker, which is probably going to make it thicker, but we'll see what happens. Incidentally, I'll show you, I can, of course, obviously the gasket cuts with the scissors, but also the aluminum cuts with the scissors. And then here's my compass, which it's somewhat difficult to get that right, but this is actually probably a little too big, but I'll cut it back probably if I have to. I think it's all right. It added a 20 thousandths or so, but I think it'll be all right. And then, so I need to clean that opening. There's an O-ring in there that I'm leaving, so this will seat against an O-ring. And then I may have to cut it back a little. It may be a little too big. Oh, I can't believe I dropped that thing. Actually, I can because I'm constantly dropping stuff. But I was able to grab it. I'm able to grab it. Let's put it in there without dropping it. Ah, it fits. It fits. I'm just going to tap it in. I'm not going to put it very tight. I think if it leaks, I'll have to replace that. It's basically a 2.5 inch flat washer. Somewhat similar to this. Shouldn't be too bad. Won't have to empty the tank. So really, I'm almost ready. This worked okay, I think. And I don't know about, I got one of the wires. This wire is the one I bought. I can't find the old one. So I don't know if it's going to work. Oh, I need some coolant. And I need one little clamp. I need one little clamp. And then it's done, maybe. So the next thing I do is put the gas in. They said it cures fully in 24 hours, but I don't believe it. I don't believe it's, so I can kind of, you can kind of see it's still kind of wettish. But anyway, hopefully it won't leak anyway because it's the right thread and it's tight. And leaking is always a problem when you're doing plumbing. I don't know if I mentioned this, the wires being bad. This is the product. The wires aren't good in this product, and the spark plugs are old-fashioned. And seems like the old points that I took out was better than the new ones, although I can't say what was wrong with the new ones. The cap seemed okay, and the plastic parts, I guess. And the plugs are probably correct type for this tractor, but you don't have to use those old-fashioned plugs. You can use the modern plugs that last a long time. But so I had to put the old wires back. See how that's got a 3 on it? That's an old wire. There's one new wire, and I don't know. We'll see if it works or not after I put the gas in it. I'll tell you what was a good deal is this oil filter, air cleaner, spark plugs, and fuel filter for this L10. Just come bundled. Like this didn't have a box. And they gave me the old-fashioned spark plugs, but they gave me 2 of them. I've already installed one. One thing you want to check with spark plugs, be sure they're the same length. So I installed one once, it was too long. That's bad. And then the oil cleaner looks good. The air cleaner looks good. I've already installed it. Now, this fuel filter, I wasn't even going to change it, but you know, one thing that bothers me about this fuel filter is it's always full of air. I don't see how it can work when it's got that much air in it. It does work, but I'm going to go ahead and change it anyway. I don't understand how this works. Now there does seem to be a fuel pump here, but I have several farm vehicles that the gas tank is just the same height as the carburetor, or just a touch higher. But look, there's no gas coming out. But I don't understand how this can work unless this is able to suck. Well, it's a diaphragm, so I guess it can suck it. So these are the bad wires. One of them completely shorts out constantly, the other one intermittently, I guess. And they've got this kind of a boot that fits. There's a tunnel, a cylinder hole, is typical with modern stuff, but anyway, this fits in there, but it doesn't fit on the spark plug very good. In fact, I was going to use these, but I'm not going to use these. Are terrible. I don't know what's wrong with them, but they're no good. And now I was thinking if I could get wires that had an end like this, I could probably stuff some insulation or something. I think the only reason it's got this boot is to keep dirt from going down in. Otherwise it doesn't do anything. But I haven't decided what I'm going to do about that yet. But see this, you push this on that. It's kind of hard to push on, and then it sticks on. These, you push it on and it tries to push itself back off. Well, the tractor's running and the gas isn't leaking. So what I want to do is cut that weed field. I call it my weed field. All that poison hemlock. I think it's really too late to prevent it from going to seed. I think after I cut it, it'll continue its development. Uh-oh, something is leaking. Is it gas or oil? I don't see it. I don't feel anything in the gas line. It's oil. It's probably hydraulic fluid from the power steering because it's so clean. I just cleaned it. I don't think there's any fuel leaking. So, and then of course this is that thing I was concerned about. So I'm going to put on this mower, and it's a little bit interesting how much work I had to do to get to this place already. And now I get this mower, which I've got on wheels, which is very convenient. I tie it up here so that it doesn't fall over and hit somebody. This roller cart's really one of my best ideas. Those are two things from Harbor Freight, about $8 a piece, I think they are. And it's not just a matter of being able to store it anywhere in the barn. Of course, you have to have a concrete floor. But when I back this tractor in here, I'll be able to move it to meet up with the tractor more easily. All the points that have to meet up, I can move it on this wheel thing. Even if I just have to move it a little bit, it's very, very helpful. That thing's very heavy. And so anyway, now I'm going to do it. Got the grease gun out. One thing I've decided is I'm using light oil. In fact, I washed it out with WD-40 because that grease gets so sticky it's hard to attach it. With light oil, it's easier to attach it. And now, see, I'm not real close, but I'll just push it. I don't have to move the tractor. First thing I'm going to hook up is this. Then I'll push it and hook up these. And I can lift them. I can lift them pretty easy. This has to be hooked up to here with the that hooks up, and then I put the top link on it. This hooks up to there, and then the top link goes from here to there. I don't 100% understand how this thing works, but you have to latch these. You latch these onto those hooks to keep it from going all the way to the ground. Then when I lower it, it'll stop at that point. So I'm going to go ahead and have some lunch, and then I'll go out in the field and I'll flop this arm down, and then I'll do the final greasing here, and then I'll mow. I don't want to flop this arm down because it's heavy. Then you have to flop it back up to get through the gate. So hopefully the next thing you see will be a mowed wheat field. Now this is my happy face. At first, the tractor wasn't running right. Perfect, wasn't running perfect. At first I was worried, because the farther I get from the barn, the more worried I get. And I had to get a little bit far from the barn to get all this mowed. But it kept running. I think I need to get a whole new set of wire, another set of wires, a good set. It's going to cost like $40. And then I think that the vacuum, there's something wrong with the vacuum advance, I think. Although I'm not sure. That timing, if you change the points, you should change the timing. But I didn't see how to do that. I didn't do it. Well, I did it by hand. And I didn't. I basically put it back where it was. So this is the poison hemlock I sprayed
Oh, it's probably been 2 months now. And it's funny that it's obviously not happy, but it's not dead either. It even looks like it's trying to produce seeds. It's a wicked plant. And see, these, I'm afraid this will go to seed. I'll show you one. I'm not sure if that's pollen or seed right there. But I think I'm too late to stop it from going to seed. There was one other thing, I had some thistles. And those thistles look like aliens. But I didn't leave one stand. I almost did. Maybe I'll find one on the internet. It looks like eyeballs looking at you. 4 or 5 eyeballs looking at you. Wish I could find that one. Maybe I'll shut off and look a little bit. There it is, I think. Only trouble is I can't pick it up. Maybe it'll stand on its own if I lean it over. I'll stand it up. There it is. These things are taller than me, which I'm 6 foot. But I bought this place, which I don't like. Some people, you might say, boy, I like thistles. You know, if you were the Addams family, you might want to grow a bunch of thistles, but I don't like them. I had corn here last year. I can't remember. I must have planted it earlier than this. That needs to burn. I mean, there's wood in there. I'll burn it. I guess that's all I have right now. At one point I let the scoop down to hold the tractor still because the tractor doesn't have brakes. And then I forget to pick the scoop up. Happens every time. Whew. I gotta move my boat and stuff over here so that it can grow. What's there can grow. Whew. Did I tell you I want to cut the heads off of all of it? Did I already say that or not? Because you don't have to cut it real deep. You can cut it kind of tall. And that's what I want to do, like all that over there. It's not so weedy, but they tell me these seed heads aren't any good. And it gets too thick anyway, you can't even walk through it. So I want to cut it off like this here, see? Just like that. The whole thing. I'm not prepared to make hay yet. I don't know if that's good hay anyway. I could pick up some Johnson grass for the goats. They like Johnson grass.